Okay, so a quick rundown on what I've been studying. I might possibly post this on my channel, I might not post this on my channel. I'm doing this for the sake of reinforcing what I have learned and what I've been practicing because I'm currently reading the book The Science of Rapid Skill Acquisition, and one of the process for reinforcing your learning as recommended by the author of the book, Peter Hollins, is that when you, and he didn't just say this, right, it's scientifically proven. So when you learn something, when you practice, you're going to reinforce what you learned, or it's going to make it stick even more when you talk about what you learned. So this is me just doing that. And in a way, practicing my public speaking skills because it's also a thing I'm trying to take very seriously this year. I know I'll get to the point soon where I'll start speaking publicly to people, right? So I have to take this very, very seriously. So to get straight to it, now content marketing from what I learned this week is it's like the creation and distribution of valuable content to a specific target audience with the end goal of converting this audience into paying customers. So, and what I've also learned is that content marketing doesn't operate in isolation. So you can't say you are doing content marketing. It has to go through a channel. You have to do content marketing through a particular channel. So when I say through a particular channel, what I mean is that there are different channels, obviously. It's either you're doing it through social media, it's either you're doing it through search engine optimization, it's either you are doing it through email marketing. And when you're doing it through social media, for example, because that's my focus, that's where I'm trying to major in. You are trying to put out content that is going to be specific and valuable to a particular type of audience. And now this will be done. You will know the type of content to put out when you have done many things like competitors analysis, target audience analysis, and that's not really the focus of this. It's the focus on content marketing holistically. And yeah, so I've explained the definition of what content marketing is. Now the thing is, how do we do content marketing for social media? So when you talk about doing content marketing for social media or using social media as an expression for content marketing, then the next thing would now be to draft a plan basically. And I've been able to itemize a plan, a process that I would follow because one thing I love with learning, one thing I do when learning anything is I try to make sure I'm creating a process. So as I'm learning anything, I'm creating a process that I would eventually that will be repeatable for me when I start working with clients as regards social media marketing. So yeah, my content marketing process is first of all to identify my goal. So and now I'm actually practicalizing or applying rather applying is the word applying what I'm learning here to this Canadian brand that I started interning with. So as I learn, I implement here. As I learn, I implement. And now the thing is, you have to identify the goal of that content marketing. So now try to understand the goal. I put together a questionnaire to ask the founder, okay, tell me what is the goal you're trying to achieve with social media. It was about a 30 question, Google form that I sent over to him, and he was gracious enough to respond and filled it and all that. So now that I have a sense of the goal they are trying to achieve, they are trying to create a sort of community. They're trying to build and high before they eventually launch their product in about 3 months. So that is the thing. They want to create a community of fans that love what they are doing, that is interested in what they are doing, that appreciate it, and would eventually buy into the product when it finally goes live. So that is the conception, that is the goal. And now now we have to create a content marketing goal that is relative to the business goal, right? So now the content marketing goal that I understand now is trying to create brand awareness pretty much. Brand awareness, that is what it's trying to do. Good, because the people who will become your fans need to be aware of your brand before they buy into it. And how are we going to generate this awareness? Influencer marketing. So this is something that we have been, going back and forth, myself and him, to understand. Okay, how do you plan to do this influencer marketing? Do you plan to pay influencers? And now that's another thing of on understanding budget, which I would delve into much later. But from what he said he's not trying to pay influencers. He's going to give them the product so they can have it, try it on, give recommendations. And yeah, let's digress. So I understand the business goal. I understand the content marketing goal, which is brand awareness. Now the next thing is to carry out the target audience analysis, which I have since done. And yeah, the next thing is to carry out the competitors analysis also, which I have since done. So one thing with social media marketing that I noticed is everything eventually comes together, even though initially it might not it might not look as if it's in synchronization, but eventually everything comes together. And yeah, the next thing is to identify your budget, obviously. So I know what their budget is. I know what their pockets is. They are not rich yet. They don't have money yet per se. It's to see if this thing they are doing would eventually, should I use the word blow? If it pans out well, yes. If it pans out well, then they're going to start, becoming serious with getting maybe funds from investors and all those normal business things that people do. But they want to see the potentiality of these things first of all. So after identifying the budget, the next thing would now be to next will be to create your content strategy, which I think I have done that, because to create your content strategy, you have to have an understanding of the goal of your content marketing. You have to set KPIs in place, right? So yeah, now content strategy. And if I ramble off the topic, content strategy is understanding what you want to post, the things that you want to communicate, the type of content that you want to put out to eventually get to your specific target audience. And how am I trying to do that? I have an understanding of the goal already. Now the thing is to create content, or to create content that is going to make these people feel engaged, make these people feel seen, and just sort of build community such that eventually they become very, very interested in what we have to offer. So my content team is revolving around creating authority building content, where we're going to be asking them things like, what don't you like about active wear in this industry? What is your biggest pain point with patronizing, or what, basically just to get a sense of what they like, what they don't like. And it's going to be something that is very, very participatory, so that they are interested, they want to talk, they want to communicate. Because I noticed from my study that when people eventually, when they communicate, when they talk, when they communicate oh good, their wants, their desires, their fears, their their desires. Because I'm just rambling now. I'm not really an expert at this topic yet, right? So you give me grace. When people communicate their desires and their fears to you, and your brand can also, talk back to them instead of at them, they it creates that sense of ownership. So they tend to become invested in your brand. Yes, so create your content team after your strategy. The next thing will be to set KPIs that we're trying to look out for in place. So now that we have an understanding of our goal, right? We have an understanding of what we are trying to achieve. Now we should now set KPIs for those contents that is in synchronization with that particular goal that we are trying to achieve. So KPIs here will be things like followers. So how many people are following us? How many people are engaging on our content? Because we want to create that sense of community. So we are going to be looking at more of the people that engage, how they engage, more than even the type of followers that we get. Right. So set your KPIs, set your content theme, then create your content calendar, which I've done. The next thing would be to optimize the content, evaluate and optimize the content, right? And this will be done once we've started putting out content. So once we see what they are receptive towards, then we now know, okay, should we double down on this, or should we, ignore this? Should we do more of this? So I think pretty much that is everything I've studied as regards content marketing. It runs far deep. It runs far deep. I didn't even talk about. I'm sorry. I didn't talk about content marketing um, versus traditional marketing because that's another topic on its own that I really found interesting when I was studying. But yeah, this is everything I have learned of content marketing and how I am practicalizing it, putting it into practice in real time in this Canadian brand. So yes, thank you guys for listening to me ramble on the off topic. I have no script. I just get on the camera and just talk. Yeah.